Yeah, hi all. Welcome to another session of mock interviews with Ankit Jain. So this is me, Ankit Jain. So I'm a technical architect at an MNC. I'm 18X certified. I'm active in Salesforce events, be it India Dreaming, be it Developer Days. So this is my LinkedIn URL. So you can feel free to follow me, or you can send the connection request as well to expand your network. So I keep the information about the upcoming sessions on my LinkedIn as well as the WhatsApp group that I run. So you can have the QR code scanned. So here we are. So today we have Raju who is going to take the interview. Over to you, Raju. So shall we get started?
Yeah, sure, Ankit.
Yeah. So I will want to start with your brief introduction.
Sure. First of all, thanks for your time, Ankita. And my name is Raju Banatu, and I'm from the Hyderabad. And I have total 5 years of experience in IT industry. In Salesforce, I have 3 years experience. So I started my career in Tata Consultancy Services in 2018. So as a fresher, so later I was moved to Optum, which is part of United Health Group, and my previous organization is Sutherland. So coming to my roles and responsibility as a associate developer, I have to deliver the assigned user stories within the sprints, and at the same bandwidth, I was worked on the production issues on the snow tickets resolution. I was worked on the user management, and I was worked for both customization and configuration part. In customization, I was worked for the implementing the Apex classes, writing Apex methods and Apex triggers, batch Apex, schedule Apex, and test classes for the unit testing and Source and Circle. And in configuration, I was worked on the in process automation. I was implemented lightning flows, approval process, and workflow rules, and created email alerts, email templates for the business requirements. And I was worked on the custom fields, custom objects, record types, page layouts, and mostly I was worked for the Service Cloud, also as part of the Health Cloud. In Service Cloud, I was worked in the case management team, and I was enhanced the entitlement management and the case management to create the assignment rules and escalation rules to meet the cases to resolve the in priority time. And I was worked on reports and dashboards as well. And mostly I was worked on the enhancement project. So we used to build which is required more than the standard features. And we have been used for VS Code chain sets for the deployments. And um, yeah, that's all about me. Thank you.
So there is some tip I would like to give you. First thing, when you're giving an interview, just talk about what's your current company, what is your designation. That's
Okay.
enough. Prior experience doesn't really add unless explicitly asked. Second part is like you mentioned about the details, like you worked on multiple projects. I would say first start to sell about like any credentials you hold, like any certifications or your accredited professional or your trailhead ranking, if that's good. You have any of those?
Yes, so I'm the certified Salesforce associate and I'm planning to do the PD1 as well. Because since we don't get much vouchers, so I didn't done the PD1 till it.
Okay, no, it doesn't really matter. What I want to say is like highlight that I've taken this certification and I'm planning for that.
Sure.
That shows like you are very much interested in learning.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can just mention like I'm currently 1x certified Salesforce developer.
Okay.
Mention the number. Are you a ranger?
No, yes, I was a no ranger. I think I was a previous done some trail hits and have some mountain ranger. I think.
Okay, mountaineer you are. Okay. Then just talk about like that you have done one, you are 1x certified. Then talk about use the word skill set explicitly. My skill means
Mhm.
my skill set includes LWC, programmatic and declarative programming. I worked on the declarative part like roles, process builder, escalation rules. I worked on the different clouds like that.
Okay.
Instead of talking about each of the projects, talk about the general skill set that is being utilized.
Okay.
Next is then you ask the panel like if you allow me, I would like to talk about the recent project which I worked on.
Okay.
and panel will 99% say yes.
mm,
You agree to that?
yeah.
So what would happen is next you will explain the project. Now explaining a project, it's very important. Like whatever recent project you worked on, start with that and never reveal your project name, means actual name. Mention the application name. Like what's that application? Whether it was a loan management, whether it was like a complaint management, like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, start with that.
Yeah, okay. So I was worked on mostly the healthcare side projects. So the previous project, one of I was worked for the Sharp Hospitality Services. So who is like doing the business across the US states. So basically they have the hospitality services, and they are looking for some service cloud to build the case management for the patient, their patient and providers for the payers. So whenever their customers facing any issues, they want to collect some feedbacks and queries. So they want to resolve their issues for that one only. Basically they are came to the Salesforce to build the some functionality to resolve their cases and improve the business aspect like that.
Okay. Now here, see, it's very brief. When I means your brief introduction should be brief, but your project should be very much intensive.
Mhm.
Intensive in the means it should cover what are the different actors that are there in the project, like what are the different profiles or roles. Like suppose in your like there would be one service manager, there would be some the patients who would be logging into the portal. Means it's a community, so how the journey would begin, like it would happen through call or there's a separate portal. Talk about like how the end user flow would work like.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so so the client customers will be the end users only. So whenever they're feeling, they will reach the customer service through the phones, or they will send them some emails, and they will post some cases on the some community portal. So via collecting their cases from the various channels, so we have built one case management team to resolve those cases. Using the case management, I also implemented some entitle management to enhance the customers, we can assigning the entitlement to the each one customers. So based on that, the agents can resolve the cases as per the customer profile, like whether the customer is advanced or premium, like based on like the subscription like that.
See, whatever you told was right.
Hmm.
But see, here you have to be a little more informative.
Okay.
So tell them like the customers who are would be have are given a license of customer community, so they have the access to the community portal, which is done have handled through Experience Cloud. And then what we have done is there is a functionality of email to case. So in our community, there is an option of raise an issue. So through that, the case gets complaint form is being opened. So patient enters the details, and then through email to case, that case is being assigned to the service team. Now, service team, like since here is the concept of like there's a team that would be working on that. So for managing the workload, there's a queue which is called uh, service team. So and the sharing is happening through sharing rules or sharing set, whatever it be the scenario. See how it detailed each and everything, keeping in mind the business as well.
Okay.
You notice that?
Yes, yes, I am getting the point.
So that's the way you explain. I know it would take some time. That's why in the beginning you're telling them like, if you allow me, I would like to explain a detail about the project. So here, whatever your technical skill set, like while I talked about sharing set, the panel got the impression like I know sharing visibility well. I know about the community. I know about email to case.
Mhm.
So that's how it goes. Try again. Or if you want some time, you
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so the previously I was worked on the some one of the client, which is the Sharp Hospitality Services, we who is running the business across the US states. So the client is basically looking for their end customers to build case management. Case management. So what we done, like we have created one case management feature, which is like created some email to case feature, which is the customer can be sent to the email which have been we created to trigger that. So whenever the end customer will be sending the cases through that email, we are collecting those emails cases through the email to case, and we have created one entitlement for those customers as well. Like based on the customer premium plans, we have been decided to. So there are three types of customers the client has. So based on that, we have created one entitled management. And for the if the customer, so the end customers has some premium plan, and the case has been coming from the email to case. So what we have done, like we have created one sharp queue to collect those queue cases, and we have assigned to the particular users and to the sharing settings and the assignment rules as well. And we have created one milestone to resolve those cases within the time frame. So and as well, and we have created some knowledge based articles to make the customers to independent without reaching to the customers. So we have published those knowledge articles and the community as well. So whenever the end customer raising the case, before they can search the knowledge articles, and they can resolve their cases, and they maybe make them independent.
I would say what you explained was good, but you can use the technical term like call deflection,
Okay.
because it's the intent is of showing the knowledge article is like they don't call. It's
Mhm.
self-service portal. So tell them about that. So
Okay.
tell about like management was done, and then for that, the knowledge base was published to the community.
Mhm.
So they were mentioned about the technical details along with business, like for each of the like give examples as well, so that the panel is able to relate to some values and other things. Basically, while the intent is here, the whatever you mention, the panel is able to visualize as well as understand from the technical side, like how that solutioning would have been done.
Okay. Okay, shall we start? So
Yeah,
shall we
yeah,
start
yeah,
with the same?
yeah, sure.
Okay. So like previously I was worked on some of the one hospitality client who is building, who is looking for the cases like the service, customer service related department. So they are migrating the like their system to the Salesforce. So the client basically looking to the serve their customers, the end customers, to help them if they are having any issues, instead of they are coming to the direct to the department like the hospitality, and to that do some like they are coming to the hospitals. Instead of that, they can reach the customer service through the various channels like the emails or phone or some community site. So they can raise the cases, and they can get resolved their cases immediately as soon as possible, and make the business very improvement. So what we have done, like we have created one case management for the client, and we have built some case service cloud features, which is like the case management and the entitled management. Also, we have built um, some knowledge based knowledge articles, and we have posted on the community side, and we have posted some frequently asked questions to the to see the customers, and they make them independent as well. And also we have there is a but particularly they have a couple of plans that client has. Based on the plans, we have assigned the customers to as the entitled. So based on the entitlement, we have also created one milestone as well. So whenever there is some on priority plan customers raising the case through the like the email, so we have assigned those cases to the particular queue. And we have created one milestone which is running on the time trigger workflow action. So those cases should be resolved within the 6 hours time frame. So once it is resolved means we like we have sent some happy or like feedback emails to the customers. If it is not resolved within the time frame, then we have created the escalation rules to assign those cases to the another department or particular user. Yeah. And and we have created one queue for the case management. So there are a couple of departments over there, which is like the patient department, and like the patient support process and the provider support process, and other, some hospitality related support process. So we have created some multiple queues, like the queues, some of the queues, and based on some condition criteria, we have uh, assign those cases to the particular department of people. So we have imbalanced the work balance to the agents. So instead of we have created some routing map to the cases should be assigned to the particular user. Also we have created the sharing setting to the display the proper record based on the role as well. So whenever there are the low level agents working and they are not resolving the cases in prime priority, the upper level manager can also be track, and they can also work on the escalation rules as well. So this is how we are implemented the case management for the client for in service cloud.
Tell me, like, since you worked on the case management, tell me, like, how does the entire escalation rule work out? Like, when does it get fired? Like, will it be fired directly when I click, means when I manually create the case, or it would be fired only when it's created through community? Is there any limitation around that?
Yes, we have created. So there are we have created one active escalation rule on the case service cloud. So the criteria is like whenever the the subject state is like, so there are some kind of subject over there. So we have collected on some subject, like some hospitality claim related. So those cases very, yes.
So we were on, like you mentioned about the escalation rules that are being configured. So,
Mhm.
so what is the license that your service agents had?
They have some standard license, like the sales for standard license only.
I think they should have service cloud licenses. They would be utilizing console app, right?
Yeah.
So it would be service cloud license, Raju.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for letting me.
So, was there any feature of live chat in the implementation?
No, Ankit, I didn't work on that kind of live chat like that.
Live chat, no, it was the functionality there in the implementation.
Yes, but I didn't work on
That
those.
doesn't really matter. What you need to talk about, like this feature of live chat as well, where they would chat, the agent patients can chat with the support agents. So this could increase the call deflections,
Mm-hmm.
which would improve the cost for the business.
Okay, got it.
Talk about that. Then talk about like the escalation, means you mentioned the escalation rules. So any case assignment rules was used, or it was like through custom implementation, like through flows or trigger, the assignment of case was happening.
Sorry, I didn't get. Can you repeat again?
Whenever a case is being created and it is getting assigned to the queue, so that was through assignment rule, or was it through custom implementation?
Like we have created the assignment rules only, and we have followed mostly the standard pattern only, which is not most the complexity scenario only. Then we are moving to the flows or apex then time.
Okay. Do you know, like there's a limitation around assignment rules?
Yes, we have. We
Can you talk about that?
So the limitations on the assignment rules, we can create the maximum number of, I'm not sure the exact number that the assignment rules, but the way of its order of execution, we can sometimes we can also the fail to the execute those assignment rules.
No, it's not about that. The real reason is around, like, if the case is created from community, then only the assignment rules are getting executed. Otherwise, and while creating the case manually, you have to check that checkbox on the case layout.
Mm-hmm.
Assign use assignment rule to do the assignment.
Okay, got it. I will
So
check it.
you have to explicitly mention that.
Okay.
So you worked on flows.
Yes.
Tell me the different types of flows that we have.
Mostly we have five types roles flows in Salesforce, which is the screen flow, which is basically used for the implemented some user interacted UI type of flows. And then we have the record trigger flow, which is runs on the before and after, like the trigger, which is fast filled and action and update. And we next we have the auto launcher flow and the schedule trigger flow and platform event flow. Also we have some other flows, but which is not we like most of it not unused.
Okay, got it. So tell me about uh, like suppose can I make an asynchronous call using Flow?
By asynchronous, yes, we can, but it's a best practice to use the asynchronous as the methods only, which is the future, batch apex, and queuable and schedulable, which is like we have
On the record, no, on the record triggered, I want to make an asynchronous call. Like suppose taking the example, like there's an whenever you hit an API, sorry, suppose a case is being created. So for
Mhm.
that case, suppose the rating of that customer is managed in external system. So we have to do an API call. So you would want to make that asynchronous for obvious
Yes,
reasons.
yes, we can.
So in the flow, would I be able to do that? Will I
Yes,
be
we
able
can.
to call the Apex class from flow and make it call it asynchronously?
Yes, we can do the both sides. So, and Salesforce has recently introduced to we can make the HTTP callouts to the flows as well. And if you want to call that Apex method, also we can call through the auto launcher flow as well, which is the Apex class should be invocable.
Okay. So you have that option of record triggered flow to run asynchronously.
Yeah.
So which is used for integration basically, or wherever you have the HTML. So which functionality you we used to write in Apex, now that is doable with Flow. So tell me about like you worked on triggers or you worked on Apex class.
Yes, I worked on.
So tell me like in the normal Apex class uh, or sorry triggers, can I do a call out in the trigger?
Yes, we can do.
Uh, there won't be any exception.
We can do, but it's not a best practice to do make callouts in the triggers. And if you want to make a callouts to the trigger, we can use the future method as well, which is runs on the background and the own thread. And so we have to we have we are used the trigger handler pattern. So which is basically we have created the separated classes for Apex classes for the business operations and business logics, and we have been used the asynchronous process for the the call outs and some other business operations, so which is the best practice that we can follow.
Tell me the reason why you have the handler and not that logic in the actual trigger.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
You mentioned like you use the handler pattern. So
Yeah, yeah.
do you know why we do that?
Yes, so so while using the handler pattern, like we can create the number of methods and which is and we can create the business logic over there. But if you are using the business logic into the trigger, we may get the exception limits and we can get some governor limits as well. And basically triggers will be runs on the seven types of events, which is before insert and before update, after insert, after update, before delete, after delete, and after undelete. So we cannot give the assurance to on that which have to which method can be called on the which type of event. So if you are using that the handler pattern, we can create the number of methods we can and based on that we can call those methods in the Apex triggers which can be runs on the flow.
Okay, tell me about the best practices of writing Apex code.
Yeah, so we have to minimize the Apex minimum the Apex methods, and we have to avoid the DMS statements inside for loops, always avoid the nested loops, and always avoid the hard coding IDs, and make sure the code should be the readability. So whenever the other developers are working, so they can be easily to understand the method and to which kind of operations have been running. And make sure always use the set of collections like which is the list map and set to handle large set of data, and always make sure that code should be bulkified so it can be runs on the large set of data as well, and always do the unit testing which is cover minimum 75% of code coverage, and always be try to hit maximum maximum 100% of code coverage to our to avoid errors in the class, sorry, Apex class.
Okay. Do you know the reason why we have the governor limits in place?
Yeah, so I believe that the Salesforce follows the some base like the standard base functionalities. So if there is no governor limits, we may get a lot of like the order of execution while may failed. So let's say for I give an example. So if you are using the if you are doing the in a single transaction, if you are doing the DMS statement on the setup and non-setup objects, we may get the DML exception, right? So those kind of should be avoided. So then the governor limits in place to help us to follow in the best methods or best way.
I would like to make some corrections here. Basic
Mhm.
reason is like Salesforce is a multi-tenant environment. So if what would happen if there is no governor limits is that one tenant, like our own org is working, is on the same server as there is another org. So if the governor limits are not there, then what would happen is like we would consume all of the CPU resources and then the other people won't be able to work on that. So that is the reason like there are governor limits being imposed.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thanks, Ankit. Thanks for letting.
The next is around like have you used test dot start test and stop test?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you tell me the use of that?
So by using this tester, start test and stop test, we can create the new set of governor limits in the test classes. So basically, it's a best practice to use those test class start test and stop test, which is aware the governor limits, which is can give the new set of governor limits.
What you told is true for start test, but for the reason of stop test is wherever you have any future method or any asynchronous method like queueable or batchable, it would force it to become synchronous.
Mhm.
So that's the reason we use stop test.
Okay, got it.
And after your this stop test, that's why you have the assertions at the very last, so that you get the desired output.
Okay, thank you.
Tell me about future method means or sorry, tell me about mixed DML. When do I get that error?
So when we are performing the DMS statements on the setup and non-setup objects, like the account, like non-setup objects are like the account contact and opportunities, and the setup objects are like user groups, group members, and profiles like that. If you are performing some DMS statements on the same Apex transaction, we may get the DML mixed DML error. So to avoid that, we can use the future method as well. And if you want to avoid that error in the test classes, we can use the test.run as.
Hey, what's the last word you said? I didn't follow.
uh, to avoid the DML mixed DML error in test class, we can use the test.run as.
Okay, yeah, great. Uh, Tell me the different about with sharing, without sharing, and default sharing.
So with sharing is like which is the sharing rules will be come to in the picture, and the by default the Apex class is the without sharing, which is runs on the system mode. And if you are using the with sharing, it's the user profile sharing level, the sharing rules will be the come to picture, and it will runs on the user level, user sharing context mode, the user context mode.
Okay, tell me about like how it means see all data. So when we write the test class, we mention like see all data equal to false. Can you tell me the reason about for that?
Yeah, so if you're using the C data are equal to true, that means we can we can access the live data, live data in the Salesforce. But if you're the best way to use the C in the like the C all data equal to false means if you're using the live data when we are doing the assertion at the time the condition of the record might be changed to some of point at time, and the test class may get the failure, and that is the reason. And we can use the test the CL data equal to true sorry false. And if you're using the CL data equal to true while deploying also, we may get the deployment will also fail you, as I told you the previously. So the live data might be changed at the time of it is executed.
Okay. Tell me about like different ways a record can be shared in Salesforce.
Yeah, so the in Salesforce we have few various ways to share the records. The like the object level, which is OWD, and the profile level. The profile level we can give the access to the user can create, read, edit, or delete the record, and we can share the record through the role based as well, which is the the lower role records can be shared to the upper level roles. And we can also share the records to the sharing rules, which is based on the owner based or the criteria based. And we can share the records to the manual sharing as well, and we can share the records to the Apex sharing as well.
Okay. Uh, tell means by default, who would get the access of a record?
Sorry, your voice is breaking.
What I'm saying is like by default, who would get the access of a record?
The account owner.
The record owner, not account owner, record owner.
Sorry, yeah, the record owner.
Yeah. So talk about that and then tell us to also mention about like by default we have the option of grant access using hierarchy. So
Mhm.
the manager is able to anybody above the current user's role already by default gets the access to that records. If the grant access using hierarchy is checked to true, then
Mhm.
we have the territory management, territory assignment rules as well to give the access. We also have the sharing rule in place. In sharing rule, we have two parts like where we know like what all condition the data should be shared, and second is like we don't know what criteria, but we know like whoever if somebody has that access, the same should be given to another person. So we call it like ownership based and criteria based. Also, we had the option of guest sharing rule as well. So if in the public site we want to give read access of the records, then we can create guest sharing rule and give the access to the guest users to view that data. Also for community, we have the sharing set in place. Like if the customer community user license is being used, then we have the option of sharing only through sharing set since portal roles are not available. Then in the sharing set, if the OWD is public read only or the OWD is private, then we have that option of giving the access to sharing set. And then we match the current user's account or contact to the account or contact lookup of that object which is to be shared. If suppose the customer means the portal users have the plus license, then we have the option to share the data via Apex-based sharing as well as the sharing rules.
Got it.
Go into much more details, Raju, on that.
Okay, thanks, Sangeeta. I need to explore much more on this share and this record sharing settings as well.
So you have worked on LWC as well, right?
No, Angit, I'm still exploring that. I'm very basics to the LWC.
Okay. Still, whenever panel asks you this question, no, always say I have gone through the trailheads and would like to try to give you the answer.
Okay, got it.
Tell them so that you're ready to take challenges and also acknowledge them like yes, I have the basic trailhead knowledge on this.
Okay.
So tell me what are the different life cycle hooks that we have in LWC?
The life cycle of hooks like the connector, uh, the sorry,
Connected callback, rendered callback,
yeah, the connector callback
constructor.
and render callback. yeah, constructor, and the constructor should be the, so we need to call the super as well, super method as well, and the render callback, and uh, call sorry, the promises, I think promises is no, and constructors.
Yeah, correct. Do you know about at the rate wire and at the rate?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, what is that?
So at that where is basically, why if you're using the at that where we can talk with the Salesforce data, and we can get the access, and we can fetch the data of Salesforce, like the Apex classes, Apex methods, by using the at that where. And the track is basically, it's a old method that I know. And the API is basically, we can give the, we want to the public property can be up to dated, like if you want to talk with the property, we can use the, like the API as well.
I would say you have to detail it out. Like wired, we means at that wire we use where we want to do the callback as soon as the component gets loaded in. And
Mhm.
for making that, you have to make that method as cacheable equal to true, and you cannot do any DML inside when you use the at the rate wire.
Okay, got it.
Tell them about the other imperative calling as means. Do you know about the imperative calling?
No, Ankit, I'm still at, like so
Not
I'm
a not a problem. Learn about that.
uh
Uh, are you comfortable in Aura?
no, Ankit, so from the UI type of, I didn't work, so I started with the LWC only.
Okay, not a problem. Then tell me, what means? Can I call do a API call out from that means uh, batchable from batch class? Can I do an API call?
No, we can't. No,
You
yes, we can mail the Apex callouts, but we cannot call the future method inside the batch Apex. And if you want to make callouts to the batch Apex, we can write an interface which is database that allow callouts.
okay? So what are the what's the default batch class batch size?
200, and the maximum is 2000.
Yeah, that's good. Can you tell me about the different signatures of start method and batch class?
In like the database that query locator and the iterable.
Do you know the use case for each of them?
Mostly I was used on the query locator, but I know the difference between the iterable and query locator. Like if you're using the query locator means we can fetch the up to 50 millions of records. But if you're using the iterable, the governor limits will be enforced.
Purpose-wise, actually, they are different. Query locator is you have to fetch the data, and iterable is like you already have the data with you.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, in the Apex means, uh, can I call the future method? Sorry, future method from queueable.
I'm not sure about this answer, but I think we can, because since this future method and queueable works for the like mostly used for the callouts, and in future method, I know basically we cannot pass the a subject as arguments, which is basically if you're passing the a subject as arguments, and the record condition might be changed when the future method work on runs. So when the method will be runs on the future, right, at the time the condition is changed, so we may get the failure. But if we can pass the s arguments in the queueable, and we can say the queueable method is an extension for the future method, and we can make the chaining system by using the queueable method,
Can I
queueable
call?
apex.
Yeah, that's good. Can I call one batch class from another?
Yes, we can call, but in finish method we can call another batch apex.
Okay. Uh, Apart from that, I think you need to work on the LWC part or Aura. That is one framework you need to be clear on that.
Okay.
For if you have to use a fixed method, expose that fixed method on LWC. So what is the annotation you need to add?
So I'm really sorry. Can you repeat it again? To use the Apex method in LWC,
Yes.
we need to like we need to annotate with aura enabled cacheable equal to true.
Cacheable equal to true is only for this at the rate wire. If you use imperative calling, that is not needed.
Okay, so aura enabled is to make sure that is with annotated, right?
Yes.
Got it.
Uh, when you have used the, can you tell me about some of the governor limits uh, that you have encountered in your development cycle so far?
Yeah, so the governor limits I was encounter like the mixed DML error and the DML statements is 151. So basically we have the 150 we can do the DML statements, but if you are using the 151 means we can get them like the DML in the DML one, like we have limit exceeded, and mostly I will get the CPU time limit error. So what I did, like the CPU time basically for the synchronous is 10 seconds, but the asynchronous it is the 60 seconds. There is one scenario where I have been working on some feature to update some fields, but when I'm trying to do that, I'm getting the CPU time limit error. So what I did, like I just gone through the all the transactions and I just created one debug along that Apex class, and I gone through the log when what are the other factors or functionalities running at the same time. So I moved the some existing functionalities to on the asynchronous process. So I avoided that CPU time limit error.
Okay. That's also a good option, but we have to keep the business informed, like this cancer functionality is working in the background
Mhm.
because it might impact the user experience for some of the scenarios.
Yeah,
Tell me the use case where you would use profile and permission sets and permission set groups.
profiles, permission sets, and public
Permission,
groups.
no, public permission set group.
So there is one scenario. There are some couple of roles. Like that, there are three roles in that permission set group, and they three of them need some extra access in terms of the delete the record, as well as some additional access. So I created one permission set group and added the three of the users into that, and after the some requirement I have muted one of the user in that public set group.
I would say explain the business scenario. Like profile and permission set is used to give access to object access and like field level details. And as per latest Salesforce recommendation, the object access and permission and field level access should be controlled in permission set.
Yeah.
What should happen in your profile is like your login hours, default tab, default record types, and that should come in your profiles. And then in the permission set groups, you have multiple for a particular doing a particular job role. What are different permissions that a user would be needing in? So you combine those and give that user that permission set group.
Okay.
Mention it that way. Read through the documentation. You will follow that.
Okay, sure, thank you.